Hey there, everyone. I've returned, and today was a cheat day. But I'll still tell you how much I weighed this morning. I weighed 156 pounds, and I am fully expecting that to go up to 160 pounds, or maybe even more, tomorrow due to all the food I consumed today. Alright, well, let's just go step by step on how the day went, shall we? I woke up at 5 in the morning because I knew my mom was going to work at 9, and I promised that I would make cinnamon rolls for the both of us and for anyone else who was willing to try it out, like my sister or any of the rentees. And yeah, I just got up. It was super cold, very freezing. And I knew I needed a warm environment for the dough for these cinnamon rolls to rise, because it only rises if the environment's warm. So I took the liberty of turning on the heater at 79 degrees. Thank goodness it wasn't 175. I would have been dead by now. Well, I put on a jacket and was off to go and make the meal. Got 2 cups of flour and mixed that up with 1/3 a cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of Himalayan pink salt, and 4.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast. You mix all that up together, and then you get a cup of water. You cut some butter in that, throw it in a microwave for about like 30 seconds, or actually more like a minute. You want it warm, but you don't want it hot. And then when you pull it out, you take an egg, you break it into the flour, you stir it in, like beat it, and then you pour the butter and water combination into the mixture, and then you mix the dough in, and you just kind of keep on kneading it and kneading it, and it starts off as really kind of like a cake mixture, but a really thick cake mixture, like a bit runny, but a thick runny. Then I had to add 2 extra cups of flour in, and then it started to firm up better. And then I just continued to add little sprinkles of flour until it was at a consistency where it was just where the stickiness of the dough was gone. Once I was done getting the right consistency, I formed it into a ball after kneading it for a bit. Then I put it away for 10 minutes so that way I could let the dough rest. I seasoned the table, and then when the dough rests for 10 minutes, I seasoned the table with flour, by the way. I got the dough out and I started to roll it out with a rolling pin that had some flour on it. I used a coriander to spread the flour. I learned that from my sister, by the way, which was a pretty cool trick. And then I just rolled that bad boy up until I had a semi-perfect rectangle, a little bit of a roundish, ovalish rectangle, but a rectangle nonetheless. And then I spread a whole lot of butter on that thing, and a half a cup of brown sugar, I think. Maybe it was a little less than that, or maybe more, but probably half a cup. I had about like a tablespoon of cinnamon sprinkled over it, and then I patted those ingredients into the softened melted butter that was spread across the dough. I twisted it up. I cut it into equal shares, so like half here, half there, till I had like a pretty decent amount of rolls. I got our round tins. I made sure to wash them and dry them and butter them up, and put the little cinnamon rolls in there with a little towel, clean towelette over to let them rise for 1 hour. My mom got up around this time, about a half hour into the rising process, or like 20 minutes. I had set up the oven already. As soon as I let the dough rise, I cleaned up my space, and then me and my mom had a nice chat, and then she decided we should continue reading our Curious book, which was a really good novel. We're nearing the end of it, and I have to say I found out that being genuinely curious about another individual is something that I think we all should strive for, because we already know everything there is to know about ourselves because we've learned our lives already, and we're continuing to live our lives every day. But learning about other people, especially people who have had big successes in their lives, kind of helps you reframe and recalculate your perspective and maybe put yourself in their shoes vicariously to understand what they did to get to where they're at. And when you do that, it makes success seem attainable and exciting. So I think that's a good lesson for everybody to learn. Very important. But anywho, we read 3 pages each, and we pretty much got like just a few more pages to go, and then we're finally done with it, which is crazy because we've been chipping away at that book for about a year and a half or 2 years now, I think. So it'll be kind of crazy to be done with it. But yeah. And then, when we were done, the cinnamon rolls were ready to be taken out of the oven after baking for 25... Oh, wait, no. I had to put them in the oven to bake for 25 minutes. And as they were baking, my mom was getting ready for work. And, yeah, I pretty much was chilling with my cat. I mean, that's all I really was doing. And then I heard the alarm go off, and they were ready. So I took them out. I made a cream cheese and butter and vanilla and powdered sugar frosting. I drizzled all of that all over the cinnamon rolls. And then me and my mom had a nice breakfast, literally right before she needed to go to work, which was pretty good. I wasn't expecting to get things done that way, but it all ended up working out. Awesome. Well, when she left, I decided to take a shower because I was feeling rather itchy and gross, so I took a shower. And after I was done, I decided it would be a good idea to get another cinnamon roll. I actually had 2 with my mom, and then I got another cinnamon roll and a cup of coffee, and watched the behind the scenes to the Lord of the Rings films that they're free to watch on YouTube apparently. I guess Warner Brothers is completely cool with letting people watch their DVD special features on the internet, even if it's posted by an unofficial, account. But yeah, nonetheless, I like watching behind the scenes in films that I enjoy because, you'd imagine, if it's a film that you enjoy so much, then maybe the people who made it enjoyed making it equally as much as I enjoyed watching it. So I thought it'd be kind of a fun experience, and yeah, it was pretty cool. I was listening to each of them talk about their stories, some really vivid tales, that kind of make me think, modern bonus features do not hold a candle to the bonus features that were produced back in the early 2000s. They felt more like a real, crash course in filmmaking and understanding of how the world of filmmaking worked back in the day. And I think that actually encourages people to want to be more interested in film because they see everyone's involvement in the process, and they see everyone developing their skills and building off of each other and being a team. And seeing that play out in real time in excruciating detail with the interviews and the stories and everything combining and weaving together, it just makes you appreciate the filmmaking craft so much more. And I feel like I watched the special features to Dune on my 4K Blu-ray, and it feels more like marketing, like it feels like the actors are basically just talking about who their character is and what their character does, and then they give a brief little anecdote about like what they think of the director and the writers and working with their team, but it's like really brief. There's no meat there. um, Meanwhile, the Lord of the Rings special features, you get complete and total understanding of what the actors were thinking, how they were feeling, what challenges they encountered on each day of the set. Like, I would have loved to have seen like, ooh, what was it like filming like this particular scene in Dune, like riding the sandworm, for example, or something. And while they do show you that on the special features, it doesn't feel like you're really in the shoes of like the people, like you don't feel like you're transported into that backstage. It feels more like you're just being seen in an advert of how great it is to work at the backstage, which doesn't, I don't know, feels disingenuous. There's too much of a sheen over it, you know? And that's another thing. It just reminds me of like, again, another set of comprehensive special features that made you feel like you were part of the movie making experience. And I know this isn't really that fantastic of a movie, but the behind the scenes documentary behind it is one of the best ever made, in my opinion. Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. Yeah, that movie, not exactly the best in story terms, but in terms of documenting the process from beginning to end in an objective sense, awesome too. Like, I love old special features. They really make you feel like you were connected with the filmmaking experience. And I just think it's such a gosh dang shame that so many modern like studios just are like scared to show the honesty and the bluntness of what it's like working on like a big budget Hollywood movie now. Like, it's too clean, it's too corporate, it's too clinical, it's too commercialized, and I just think that sucks. But anyways, enough of my long rant about that. After I was done watching the Lord of the Rings special features, I was wondering if I could continue working on my Infinite Jest VO3 adaptation. So I got off of the special feature binging, and I was going through VO3 and ChatGPT 5, and I was basically asking GPT to generate certain frames that I would want for a scene. Like, ooh, I want the characters to be close up on this scene. I want this to happen. I want this to happen on VO3. And it would write it out really well for me. And I would send that into VO3, and like 3 times out of like sending it, once out of 3 times, I guess is a better way of saying it, I would get the shot I wanted. So I had to go through so many other generations where it just ended up giving me a glitchy and unsatisfying result. I just think it kind of sucks that Google like forces you to spend credits on like videos that like you don't like. Like, can't they make it so like if the like you spend your credits on a video where it's not to your liking, you can say, hey, if I delete this, can I get my credits back and instead use them towards a generation that I actually enjoy? Like, I think that would be a much better way to do it, because you feel like you're getting your money's worth and you're not wasting any of your money or your generations. Just a thought, but I know how these major multi-billion-dollar corporations work. That cuts into their profit margins, and we can't have that now, can we? But yeah. And anyways, I did work on the Infinite Jest opening scene where Hallen condenses in a office with his coach and his uncle, and they're being interviewed by these the dean of admissions and the uh, like two other deans, like the sports dean and the other one that I'm forgetting right now. Yeah, so it's been a really involved process. When I get a shot I like, it's the most satisfying thing in the world. But when I don't get a shot that I like, it's the most frustrating thing in the world, and I have to go reword the prompt in ChatGPT 5, describe exactly what happened, what I want changed, rewrites the prompt. I copy paste that in, see if I get a result that I want instead, and then I've got to do workarounds sometimes where I have to like generate two separate clips and then like splice them together in editing software to get the intended emotional effect. So it's just a really involved process. So many moving parts. But I wouldn't be lying if I said that I did enjoy myself. I was having a blast seeing these scenes from the book come to life in some capacity because, for whatever reason, there's never been an attempt to adapt Infinite Jest into a feature-length film. So doing this is satisfying my curiosity on what that could potentially look like. I mean, I have researched Infinite Jest movie projects on YouTube. Someone made a fan trailer showing some key characters and some key dialogue and some key scenes from the book, all spliced together throughout this short trailer. Someone else apparently did a music video based on one scene in the book where like a group of tennis players are like pretending they're launching like nuclear explosions like on a map that represents the tennis court or something like that. Like that was adapted into like a music video. Apparently, after the guy who wrote the song read the entirety of the book, which gave it extra subtext that made it more interesting, and it made the music just sound more thrilling to me in the music video because it just I don't know. It's like, oh, so this is like someone who's spends their life writing and developing music, where the sounds that come out of them where like after they've experienced something like a book like Infinite Jest, and it's hearing those sounds and understanding like, oh, that sounds very melancholic, but at the same time sort of like, well, we're moving along and we're seeing what happens, and we're just going to have radical acceptance with the situation that we're dealing with and hope it all works out. Kind of vibe that I kind of enjoy. I think it's kind of fun. I like it. Yeah. So, man, I got carried away with that. But yeah, after I was done working around that, my mom arrived. I greeted her. We were thinking about what to eat for lunch on our non-keto cheat day, and my sister got up, and so my mom decided to find a sushi restaurant that we could go to. She found one in a area that we've never been, so we were gonna go, but then my mom and my sister got in a long conversation about like something, so I decided to chill in my room and mess around with Soar 2 because I ended up running out of generation points for VO3, which sucks, and also I ran out of ChatGPT 5 today too, and money's tight right now, so I don't really feel inclined to spend any more just to see this adapted. I mean, sure, it's a lot of fun, but at the same time, I should probably work on my own stuff in the meantime, give it a month, and then return to the project with a fresh perspective. Yeah, build some fun ideas. But anyways, I was messing around with Soar 2. My sister tried one of my cinnamon rolls, and she said they were really good. So I was thinking, what would be a funny thing to generate having to do with cinnamon rolls and me and Soar 2? Oh, what if I got Plankton from SpongeBob if anyone remembers the show where in an episode he plugs a brain control device into SpongeBob so he could use his body to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. And I thought it would be pretty funny if we had Plankton doing the same thing to me, where he's like moving like the levers and we see my body kind of moving left and right, left and right. And yeah, I just thought that would be hilarious. Let's do that. Apparently that violates their policy on Sora 2, even though I've seen plenty of SpongeBob AI generated clips on YouTube that look surprisingly authentic to season 1 of SpongeBob. But apparently there are guardrails that have been put in place to avoid any copyright content, which basically means avoid any lawsuits from people like Viacom or Disney or any of the big major studio companies. But I looked up on Reddit if there was a way to bypass this issue. It turns out that you can if you cheese it a bit by basically telling the model that these are copyright-free characters, and then you basically say their name, but in a completely smudged up way. So instead of Plankton, it's Blankton. Instead of SpongeBob, it's BongeBoob. And you just give a vague description of what they look like. And because the way their names are similar to the official cartoon characters and their descriptions are similar to the official cartoon characters, it does enough to trick Sora 2 into believing that, oh, I'm going to generate the actual result. So it did, but the problem was it was super glitchy. My dialogue was running over Plankton's dialogue. There was too many cuts, and it just overall was not a really great generation, if I'm being honest. I tried to generate it like 3 different times, and then me, my sister, and my mom, we left to go to the sushi place. When we got there, it had a unique vibe to it. It was like a corner shop in the middle of a supermarket, which was quite unusual because most markets I've been to in my location, at least, there isn't like a little eatery area with like chairs everywhere they could just sit in and start eating. They don't have that. And man, this store looks like there has to be constant activity in each and every location. It's like if a mall, a convenience store, and a grocery store all combined into one. It was pretty interesting location. So yeah, we had our sushi, and it was very good. I enjoyed it. I paid my sister. We actually bought 3 rolls and some fried side dishes, and I decided, and then my sister bought it all, but then me and my mom split the cost with her 3 ways. We gave her the money, and we enjoyed our meal. I liked it. The fish had a really smoky flavor. There was like one called a sumo roll that like the fish on top was cooked, but it had a really clean and like bold taste to it that I really enjoyed. The sumo one was definitely my favorite. The other ones were good, but in my opinion, they were honestly like not as good in comparison. But there was one with like another fish on top, and that tasted very. I mean, it tasted very smoky and kind of like, fishy. Just a teensy bit on the fishy side at the end, which I wasn't too crazy about. We even got miso soup, which was cool. Miso soup was really good, and yeah, we really enjoyed ourselves. The crunchy side dish we got, and it had shrimp. It had panko, sweet potato slices, which were quite good, and zucchini. I'm not a big zucchini guy, so I didn't try that. Um, but yeah, we really liked it. And then we walked around the store for quite a bit. We enjoyed the sights and sounds and different areas. They were selling seafood in the area, and we saw like living crabs there. We saw like, you know, whole squids and octopus, and it was pretty cool seeing all of these creatures just, available to purchase for food. Like, yeah, I had a good time. Definitely different from the store that I work at, that's for sure. Well, after we were done, and my mom ended up picking up some supplies from the store, we headed on back into the car and we drove over to another store that was close by. And we perused around that one too. Um, it was a lot of fun. We like messed with like plushies, and we were looking for the like different like cages that we could put my sister's spider in, and all of them weren't exactly to my sister's specifications. She wanted like a tall one, and like all of them were more like short with a longness to them. So yeah, probably have to go to a dedicated shop for that. But yeah, we were just messing around, going through different lanes and aisles, and sometimes we're playing some fun song that me and my sister were singing, and we had a great time. I really liked it. Well, when we were done, my sister and I and my mom, we all left. My mom and sister bought some stuff. I didn't buy anything. I didn't really feel hungry at that moment due to the food from lunch. We got in the car and we headed home. My sister did get a coffee drink that was in there. She let me try it. And this coffee drink was very, very sweet. I described it as like if you took coffee ice cream and melted it and then put it in a cup with coffee, and that was the drink. And yeah, it was pretty intense for sure. Very intense. One sip was plenty for me personally. When we got home, I ended up going in my room, and I was basically like, I had like a podcast on my top computer screen. I had like working on trying to generate that Plankton Sora 2 video on my phone, and I was like overstimulating myself. And after a while, my mom eventually walked into the room, and well, we talked for a bit, and then she asked if I was gonna order a pizza. I was like, okay, I'll order a pizza. So we were looking at different pizza places on my phone. I found one that promised a New York style pizza, and I thought, I've never had New York style pizza before. I wonder if that's any good. So I let my mom know about it, and she was like, okay, well, sure, we'll do that. So I called, and apparently they have a delivery available. So we delivered the pizza with mushrooms, onions, bell peppers, jalapenos, and olives. And it took about like 40 minutes for it to arrive. And when it arrived, it was alright. I mean, it was at its best when it was fresh. But the longer it sat, the more it lost its appeal. I don't know. The cheese started to get a little. It's hard to describe. I guess kind of gunky. Yeah. Yeah. Not going back there. I mean, it was okay for what it was, but certainly ain't no Pizza Mania. That was the gold standard, and yeah. Sad it's currently gone. But anyways, after finishing that, well, after we opened the box and got our pieces of pizza, we decided to watch part one of a part two mini documentary series about called Pee Wee in his own words, I think. And basically, it's a long form interview where actor Paul Rubens talks about his entire life experience of what it was like growing up and then like trying to find his identity and then eventually becoming Pee Wee Herman. And yeah, it was a really insightful documentary. And the crazy part about it was all of the footage that was being filmed for it that had Paul Rubens in it was filmed literally hours before his death. And apparently he died of cancer, and they didn't tell anybody about it until literally like the day he realized he was about to die. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. And it was a really interesting documentary. I really liked how it explored Paul Rubens' more unusual and very eccentric side. Apparently, he liked to cross dress. He also apparently was homosexual, which I didn't know about. I don't know why, but I always just assumed he was like. I honestly didn't know what it was, so I didn't really assume anything. But yeah, it was pretty interesting to hear about that. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that he was like the last, very near to the very end of his life, he was able to get most of his life story out before he died. Like, that's pretty insane, honestly, just thinking about it. But basically, he was pressured by the culture at the time to be more widely marketable and appealing by hiding the more eccentric, well, by not eccentric, but hiding the more like sexual parts about himself, so he could put himself into this character known as Pee Wee Herman. So he felt like he could have this persona that he could slip into and be like this big, exciting like character for people to enjoy. And he kind of had sort of a split personality thing going. It was really interesting seeing him talk about that and why he chose to make Pee Wee sort of a performance art character who managed to get really big. Like, I was pretty intrigued by all of that, honestly. Really, really interesting. Yeah, but we did finish part one. And we're probably going to finish part two tomorrow, me and my mom. Yeah, but after we're done with that, I said goodnight to my mom. I decided to take my vitamins. And as I was doing my closing day ritual, I was listening to the new Preston Dennett video about people's supposed close encounters with extraterrestrial beings, according to him, which is pretty interesting. The scariest one for me was like the one where like there was a lady on a bus and she noticed like there were two ladies that looked like pretty scary, like their nose seeped into their face and like their eyes were bigger than usual and their like mouths were like kind of pierced like lips like this. Like that, and then the visuals that accompanied that were genuine nightmare fuel. But yeah, I was like listening to that and doing everything I needed to do, such as taking my vitamins, brushing my teeth, and I decided to use the mouthwash because, oh yeah, I almost forgot. I decided, well, since it's cheat day and I'm probably not going to eat like this for another 3 weeks, I'm going to have one more cinnamon roll as dessert before checking in for the night. So I had a 4.5 cinnamon roll. Not a great idea. I felt extremely bloated and like uncomfortable afterwards. It was it wasn't great. Only eat cinnamon rolls if you're genuinely hungry, or have the room for it. Don't eat them if you're too full, which I was, because I had like 4 pieces of pizza. Yeah. Did I mention that I'll probably be 160 tomorrow? I'll be surprised if I'm like just 2 pounds above, but we'll see. Yeah, so after taking vitamins, brushing teeth, doing mouthwash, and I took out the bathroom trashes, I took out the kitchen trash, I pulled the trash cans up to the front of the yard because the trash man will be coming tomorrow. And then here I am, recording this latest update video for you. And that's pretty much it for now. I'd say it was a fairly good day. Yeah, I'm glad that it happened. So, tomorrow I have off, but I do have a scheduled demo appointment where I'm going to be bringing my family, if they're willing, over to witness and interact with the new Samsung Galaxy XR device, because I find new technology super fascinating and I really want to try to see if it's any good or any better than the Apple Vision Pro that I tried when that came out, which was an extremely heavy, uncomfortable device, especially on my cheekbones. I did not like how that fell on my face. I am curious to see how the Galaxy XR feels. Well, that'll have to do it for now. I'm going to go to bed. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody, and take care.